Hiya, my name is Kushita Korea. I'm going to talk about sustainable tourism in Bahutan. This is the map of Bahutan. Bahutan is a small country. Is it located in the Eastern Himalayas? It is known for cross-nation happiness rather than cross-domestic products. Bahutan's traditional culture and heritage, religion. Bahutan social center around Bakib's religion. It is covered by around 23% people in Bhutan having benefits in Hindu religion, a very less population in Bhutan covered by the Muslim religion. Monastery is a religion home from the monks who perform religious activity there. Monks join in the monasteries at 6 to 9 years age and places under discipline of headmaster. They learn ancient religion, Monshki as well as the Jonga and English. The monks got spiritual training in the monasteries. The religion festivals, the Seju in the most important festival held in Dijon villa of Bahutan. People from different direct come in the monastery and given their offering to Lama. People do mass, dancer or chant in the large country year. Bahutan traditional culture and heritage, behavior and dress code. As you can see, this is the dress that they're wearing. Digram Damja. Namja is official behavior and dress code of Bahutan. It means the rules of disciplined behaviors. It also expresses Bahutaneries art and architecture. These are set of manners, what to wear, how to eat, talk, and boy before the government official and the clergy. Tourist ethical issues in Bahutan. In Bahutan, sustainable tourism is directly associated with ethical issues, notably those concerning culture and environmental preservation, as well as fair and ethical treatment of local community. Tourist ethical issues in Bahutan. Unique culture and heritage preservation. Bahutan directly culture and heritage preservation is one of the country's most serious ethical issues. Bahutan has a rich and distinct cultural history, and the government is working to preserve it by controlling visitor activities and encouraging community-based tourists. Visitors must respect local customers and traditions, and some seats are off limit to them. Known as featherless, there have been reports of tourists violenting local customers, such as wearing unsuitable apparel in religious location, leaving local people feeling disrespect and offended. Environment preservation. Environmental protecting in other ethical issue in Bahutan's tourist sector. Bahutan is famed of its pristine natural environment and sustainable tourist techniques strive to reduce the negative environmental impact of tourists. Nonetheless, there have been reports of tourists leaving trash or causing damage to the natural environment, which must have long-term consequences of the country friendlies and consistent. Bhutan government has set serious and strict law on the tourist industry to preserve the natural environment, which includes not just reserves but also the preservation of animals and natural vegetation in local forest area, so that the country natural reserves can be preserved for a long period in order to support sustainable tourism. Fair and ethical treatment. Treatment local community affairs and ethically is also an ethical concern into Bhutan's tourist business to ensure that local community benefit from the economic benefit offered by tourists. The government has fostered community-based tourist programs. Unfortunately, there have been cases of tourist operators exploring local community, which can have a serious impact on the local community and its culture. Loss of culture identity. Large amount of Western culture of the country, effect of introducing foreign culture, lost their traditional culture, behavior and clothing code, traditional dress, significant impact on the local community. Bhutan has a unique culture and identity. It has a rich cultural history. Because of tourism, one of ethical issues areas that it is loss of original cultural identity. Tourists delivers a large amount of Western culture to the country, which has the effect of introducing frozen culture to the country. The local people and the local community are adapting traditional culture, behavior, and clothing code. The worry arises that people might lose their own culture and identity as a result of the introduction of other country culture into local community. It has a significant impact on local community. Bhutan, like many of country, is delighted with the number of global tourists and concerns that affect its tourist economy. Bhutan's major worldwide tourist challenges include over-tourism. While Bhutan has a quiet system in place to control the number of tourists allowed to enter the nation each year, there is still a risk of over-tourism in some locations. Climate change has posed a huge threat to Bhutan tourist business, especially given a country relies on natural resources and outdoor tourist activity. Economic dependence. Bhutan economy is entirely reliant on tourism, making it vulnerable to an economic shock or shift in global tourist partner. Diversification of the economy is critical to reducing this reality and ensuring long-term economic prosperity. Culture preservation. Bhutan discrete cultural history is a major appeal for visitors, but there is a concern that tourists will lean to the modernization of culture traditional or the loss of tourist and culture preservation effort. Fair and ethical tourism, as a preview said, fair and ethical term of local communities as well as environmental preservation are critical issues in Bogota tourist business. Carbon emissions. In tourism, there is a margin involvement of the transporting and emission from the vehicles used to transport tourists contribute to climate change. Bogota has a limited effect tourists of public transporting of mass tourists travel in private vehicles. The government of Bogota has made effort to provide the factory and hyper vehicles to reduce the carbon footprint of tourists. Waste generation tourist generation of a lot of wastes including plastic waste in Bogota. The government has banned the single-use plastic but the enforcement of this ban is not always effective. Tourists can also generate waste by leaving behind litter in natural area. Impact of natural resources. Tourists can also damage the natural resources such as water and energy. In Bogota, the government has implementing policies to produce sustainable tourist practices such as recording the use of solar energy and protecting water surface. Impact on wildlife. Tourists also can instruct the wildlife habitats, which can have a negative impact of wildlife population. In Bogota, the government has implemented policies to protect wildlife, including establishing national park and conservation area. Why carbon emission occur? Tourism is high carbon intensive sector. This following result to increase carbon emissions. Transportation is a volume use of airplanes, buses, cars, and cruise ships, which emit carbon dioxide gases into atmosphere. Accommodations, hotel, resorts, and other type of accommodations emit carbon by using energy of cooling, heating, and heating. Also, production and transportation of food, water, and other consumable involved in carbon emissions. Activity and excursion. Tourists often participate in activities and excursions such as sightseeing, tourist skills, and water sport, which can have impact on environment by product carbon. Infrastructure development of these factories requires also of energy of constructions and operations of these facilities, so this also involving in the emission of the carbon. Government imposed a minimum daily package of tourists, which include accommodation, food, transportation, and guides. The government play important role to preserve the culture and environment of the country by making strict guidelines and rules. The government encourage the community-based tourists, which provide the support to the local community of Bogota. Bogota government has established an sustainable tourist certification scheme to reward tourist enterprises that adhere to environmental and social requirements. Thank you.